Okay. Spent 3.5 hours outside today. Started out sunny for about 15 minutes, but it wasn't raining. So I stayed the course and I trimmed up the jasmine a little bit, got the wet leaves out from underneath, swept a little bit of the patio area. Had a ton of leaves and pine cones all over the patio and pine needles. And then I trimmed up my viburnum to give my rhodie a little chance because the rhodie wants to grow. So I trimmed that up and I got up some leaves down here. I had a ton of leaves down here, still do, but not as bad. So I cleaned up a little bit on the pathway, made 3 full wheelbarrow trips to my compost heap, and patio's looking a little bit cleaner. Won't be able to clean it completely until it dries out, and then I can get all the pine needles out of the cracks. But did a little bit of cleaning. Didn't do much in here. However, this viburnum was overhanging my rhodie. And so I got in there behind the rhodie and I clipped it down a little bit so that the rhodie has a chance to grow taller. Because it'll be gorgeous if it has a chance. But until it dries out and I can get in there with my saker saw, I want to get a couple of the really big branches out of there to kind of condense down the viburnum, because it grows really well here in this wet weather. And right now it's in flower and the hummingbirds appreciate that. There were 2 of them at it this morning. So it may not have a lot of pollen and juices, but it has enough to satisfy the hummingbirds a little bit. And I got in here, clipped off all my dead hydrangea blossoms, so they're gone. Not going to do anything. Oh, excuse me, my nose is running like a sieve. I'm not going to do too much more in here, trimming bushes down and stuff, but I did trim off the tall phlox that the bugs are hatching out now, so it's safe to go ahead and trim the stalks. So I did that, put those in the compost heap. My hellebores are starting to bloom up, and they are starting to blossom. So I've got to clean those up a bit more, get some of the wet stuff out. Fed my goldfish because the temperature is actually 50 degrees in there. I checked it yesterday. So they can eat. And there's nothing in there for them to eat. So I tossed them some food, which they really appreciated. So I will be doing that on a regular basis now, unless we get another cold snap, because they are out and about. They don't like to be filmed, but they're out and about. And I won't clean out the debris and do that until it gets really a lot warmer. Hello, dog. My rabbit dog. Whoops. There you are. There's my rabbit dog. Yes. I named her Rabbit because she likes to hop and jump and leap and looks like a rabbit. So she's a cat who thinks she's a dog, but her name is Rabbit. Huh. Isn't that right? Isn't that right, dog? Yes. Are you a dog? Can you bark? Woof, woof. Anyway, she's my faithful companion out here. But anyway, that's looking a little bit better over there. As it dries out underneath, I will also get in there and start clipping down the real tall stuff. I've got a special attachment that I can do that with. But my roadies are doing a lot better. They have a little bit more room. One of the projects for this spring is to replace the pump in here because it keeps breaking the circuit. So I have no power to my shed when it does that. And the circuit breaker's in Chandra's shed, so I'm going to trip that. And I'll probably unplug the pond until I redo the pump system, because I have a brand new pump for it. But this one has seen 13 years, so it's time for a new one. So I will be doing that as a spring project too. So there you have it from a very messy, this place is absolutely a horrible mess. We had pine needle debris that I have not seen in the 15 years that I have been here. And I'm hoping that the cedar trees are not in trouble, because it basically affected the cedars. And they're looking pretty sparse this year, more so than ever before. So we shall see what happens. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it was just their time to shed. But it really, really seems funny that they all did it at the same time. So I'll be keeping an eye on those. And that's about it for here. Over and out from Lynn's Garden in Port Orchard, Washington. Bye now.